he should just sleep.
No. Uh, but yeah, no, but I've taken care of kids who were sleeping, so
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Well, either way, I was like, yeah. And then Marco wasn't here, or else I might have started talking over it to be annoying, just to kid with you. But yeah, he was nowhere to be found.
Yeah, no.
Now, I wanted to give you time to process this because to me, this is one of the best finales ever.
I'm
And, and there's so much like classic Who, and there's just so much in this one episode that it's just so freaking great.
I'm just left feeling very like confused and emotional, and there's just so many feelings, and
Mm.
like I really liked it, but there's obviously a lot to go through here, and that's why we're here to parse all of this out. So, I don't know. Is there a best way to? Should we like start with everyone say something nice about the episode before we start like tearing it apart, or?
I think okay, are we gonna roll? Let's roll.
Yeah, yeah. No, I figure we're in.
Okay, well, okay. So we need to open this up with just bringing it out and say you guys were right. Stephen Moffat settled the debate. The Time Lord can be a lady Time Lord at any point.
I
Uh,
guess so. Yeah, that
he,
was.
he
Yeah.
he's been cagey for years about this, and I bought into the reasoning as to why it wouldn't be because it was supposed to be controlled by the witches, the Sisters of Khan, but they completely switched that around, and it's been firmly established. It's canon now. You can regenerate into another gender if that's what the random thing says that you should. So that debate is settled once and for all, sealed. Nobody can bitch about it anymore. I'm gonna roll with it. This is the way it is, and cool. I'm glad we established it. Um, for me, it's a paradigm shift. But for those who were looking forward to this as vindication, this was actually pretty big. It was huge, and
Yeah.
he did it, and Moffat did it in such a subtle manner that it was beautiful. I just love the way he did it, the way he handled it.
And it was actually a little funny because they're like, "Oh, ma'am," like
Right, right,
they were a little surprised because obviously it doesn't happen often. Obviously, from their reaction, they still would expect a male most of the time, it seems, but but it can happen, and so yeah, that's really good. Although if you did y'all watch the Comic Con panel for Doctor Who this
no.
year when he pretty much came out and said that it could happen. So I actually wasn't that
Well,
surprised.
he was quoted as saying that he doesn't see why not, but he doesn't want to commit to it. And I think he had this in mind the whole time, so he was purposefully cagey.
Well, I think
Uh,
he doesn't want to commit to the Doctor regenerating into a woman, but
well,
he
well,
at Comic Con he pretty much said, "I thought that I've been hinting that Time Lords could turn from male to female," and he pointed at the actress who played Missy.
right.
So I felt like what he was saying when he was being non-committal, it was for the Doctor, not for Time Lords.
Right. Well, like I said, I think he did all of this on purpose because there's no going back now. There's
Yeah,
no
yeah.
excuse now. Now that this debate has been settled, it's cemented, it's canon. There's no going back.
And I'm sure
So,
there's a lot of nerd rage in the Hoovers right now.
there's you know what? And I'm not part of that. My whole thing was continuity, but now continuity has been established. Now it's been established that this does happen. So I'm good with it. I'm fine. It never was established before, so it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. But now that he's made that connection, and Missy was always kind of weird. Missy always had this whole other thing going on, so that never worked for me. But now it's been made canon, and we can't bitch about this anymore. Nobody can bitch about this. It's over. If nerds want to have their little nerd rage, that's them. Whatever. It's done. They need to get over it. They need to follow along now.
So brace yourselves for a female doctor, is what you're saying?
Haley Atwell.
Haley Atwell for everything.
Well, she would be great, but just seeing at the very end, Maisie Williams in there, she looked very doctor-like, and it's almost like that was a hint of what it might look like or what it could be if there ever was.
Did you like the way they tied in the future Danny Pink episode to this one? The four knocks, always the four knocks.
Yeah.
That was so freaking cool. That was so freaking cool. So Maisie Williams, well, at least her character, was there last year, and nobody was the wiser. And we just found out with this episode that she's always been there. And that was her knocking the thing that got him all confused and curious last season, that he had to find out what it was, but we never could find out. It's kind of cool that it wrapped up with this episode.
And this whole season has been about wrapping things up.
It has, and I think
that's like the major theme, I feel.
Yes, and I think he wrapped up a lot of things. Another debate that I think he quasi-ended, and I'm going to roll with it, was that the Doctor really is half human. He is the hybrid. He is a hybrid.
I don't think that was established. This is my biggest nitpick about this. No, I feel like there's still confusion over that.
I don't think so.
I don't think we know. They went back and forth. Well, maybe a Shielder is the hybrid, or maybe it's.
Yeah.
Then they implied it. Maybe it's the Doctor, but then they said it was the Doctor and Clara together.
But he said, as he was losing his memory, right now what we just finished watching with Andy, I became the hybrid. That's his confession at the end when he's.
I thought he meant with Clara.
No, he says he did not say we became the hybrid. He said I became the hybrid. Those were his words, and I think it's been settled.
I don't think it's been settled.
I think it has.
I think it's leaning in that direction, that it is settled. But yeah, that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go back and rewatch that whole section, because I'm like, that whole discussion of who the hybrid was, and I just was like,
I felt like the hybrid was just a big fat MacGuffin. I was very disappointed by it. I love mind-bending stuff, but it still has to be logical. It still has to be something you can follow, and I feel like it was the reason for this story. It got us here, but that the thought that the Time Lords would put him in his confession dial for 4.5 billion years,
4.5 billion,
because they were afraid of the hybrid. I don't know. It doesn't play for me.
It does for me, because they were the Jedi who grew confident in their abilities and were blind to what was going on around them.
No, they're just assholes.
Well, yeah, they are, but they're assholes who misread a prophecy, just like the Jedi did.
Yeah.
The Jedi thought there's going to be this one guy that's going to bring an end to the dark side, when it wasn't it. He was going to bring balance to the Force, but nobody was going to like how this balance was going to be established. Nobody did. And yeah, there was a hybrid, but it wasn't what they were expecting. And did he conquer Gallifrey? He kind of did. He got rid of the High President. He became, for all intents and purposes, the owner of Gallifrey. He got an entire empire to lay their weapons down for him. So that part of the prophecy did come true. But he says, he tells the council, like, isn't it weird how the prophecies never really give us useful information?
Yeah, what color is the hybrid?
Right, exactly. So I think this is Moffat's way of settling a dispute that's going to be fully resolved later on. He still has to have a little bit of a mystery to string everybody along, but I think there's enough there to establish this.
I'm with Melissa. I think the hybrid was a MacGuffin. It was a way to get us through all of this, and maybe it's gonna probably keep coming back because there's unresolved issues, and that's obviously a cool thing to try to explore. But I feel like here this was all about giving a final goodbye between the Doctor and Clara in a way that really flipped a lot of the goodbye to the companion tropes that we've seen all throughout New Who. In some ways, I kept going back to Donna.
Yes.
This whole idea of, rather than it being Donna who has to have her memory erased, it's going to be the doctor who's going to do it. And how, I don't know if, I mean, maybe that makes me feel better about Donna's fate. Like, well, the doctor had it happen to him too, but I, I, I don't know. It still seems unbearably cruel.
Yeah.
Yes, it reminded me of Donna, and it just solidified the fact that she probably had the worst fate, now shared by the doctor. Because how desperate is it that you're pretty sure something happened, but your mind doesn't want to agree to it? And we're talking about years upon years for the doctor, thousands of years of history that is erased. Like the last 2 seasons that we have, no, the last, what, 3 seasons now, or almost 4 seasons, 3.5 seasons, were all for naught. Because we've had Clara for 3.5 seasons, and every single adventure was for nothing. It all added up to nothing. So if anything, it reinforces the fact that Donna got screwed bad. Like we're really seeing how bad she got screwed, and the emotional depth that Peter Capaldi delivered. I can only imagine how Catherine Tate would have handled that had we seen Donna try to access her memories the way the doctor did in this episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've always thought, I mean, I know we had this argument when we talked about um, Amy and Rory's final episode, and we were discussing this. For me, it was no contest that Donna got screwed worse than
Yeah.
them, because at least they still had each other.
Right, right.
They, and also it was Amy's choice. She made the choice to go and be with Rory, knowing that there could be terrible, things happening as a result. Donna did not get any say or choice. This had to
Right.
happen, and that was it. And when they implied that was going to happen to Clara again, oh my God,
I thought about
off
you.
my sofa. I was mad. Oh my God.
I thought about you, yeah.
The thought of that happening again, of a woman losing all her agency and just having to do whatever the doctor prescribes for her, it just really, I mean, I was pretty pissed, but then they switched it, which, hats off to Moffat for doing something like that and not making it completely patriarchal, because that's a nice twist, and it's long overdue, I think. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I love the thought of Clara and Ashildr traveling together, taking the long way back before she has to, I guess, face the Raven again. But what it does, though, even though I did love the ending, I did. And one more thing before I forget. I'm going to coin a new term here, okay? Sonic screwdriver porn. Because
Ah!
seriously,
Yes!
seriously, take my money now when
Yes.
that replica comes out. Just
Yes.
take my money now.
That's what
That
I
is
said.
easily the coolest freaking
Yes.
Sonic screwdriver ever. Going
Yes.
back to classic Who, everything. I mean, oh, yeah.
And it's in the shape of the first Doctor screwdriver. It's got the same relative shape almost. Dude, I jumped up, dude. I jumped up and I was
and
jumping up and down.
the TARDIS that Maisie Williams is in, I knew you love that, because that's a classic throwback right there.
That's Phil
I
Hartnell's
was like, oh
original
my
console.
God, he is creaming his shorts right now, Martha. I know he is, because I saw that and I was like, he is in like classic Who heaven right now. I
Yes.
just know it.
Yes. Yes.
Anyway, okay, I just had to say that before I forgot, because take my money for that replica. Seriously, I don't even
Yeah.
care how much it costs. Okay, so anyway, the point I was trying to make was that even though I love seeing Clara run off with a shielder at the end, and the last 10 minutes really made up for the confusion of some of the other plot points in my mind. If it wasn't for those last 10 minutes or so being so awesome, I think I might have been pissed about this episode a little bit.
Mhm.
But for me, though, the problem I had, one of the main problems I had, when they revealed that he could have left at any time, he could have left a confession dial, but he spent like 4.5 billion years in there, okay? And even to a Time Lord, that is not exactly a drop in the bucket. That's a long frickin' time, okay? So he did it basically so that he could trick the Time Lords into resurrecting Clara so he could try and save her. And that is a little, that's just too much. I know that they've been together 2.5 seasons, and they obviously are very fond of each other. I really love their relationship. I do. But this reminded me of River Song, because River Song on the surface, there's a lot of things to love about her. She's clever. She's extremely intelligent. She's, funny and kind of audacious. There's a lot of things to love. But her obsession with the Doctor, her willingness to screw so many people over and even change the universe in bad ways to save him, is obsessive. And that's a part of that character I do not like at all. It almost negates all the good things about her in my mind. I have very mixed feelings about her because of that. Overall, I love her, but that obsession is dark. And his staying 4.5 billion years in that confession dial when he could have left at any time simply to get them to resurrect Clara, that's that same kind of obsession that's just very dark and kind of off-putting. Do you guys...
Well, there was a couple of reasons why, though. Well, let's go back to the reason why he chose the face he chose. He wasn't going to let people die. And that's probably a big reason why he kept going back to see if there was any way he could bring Clara back. That's a big reason. But another one is that he didn't want to give up who the hybrid was because he had no idea what the High Council of Gallifrey was going to do with this information. We saw that most of the season he spent avoiding war, and he'd be hell-bent from keeping the Gallifreyans to get their hands on a hybrid to start or to have a continuation of this war against Davros and Sarkos. So I think those two reasons were what really drove him those 4.5 billion years. It is crazy and it is obsessive, and there is a lot of darkness to this obsessiveness that led him to do all the things he did in this episode. But I think that they're just reinforcing the point that obsessiveness is pretty damn dark.
Yeah.
It's not always good. I mean, if you think about it, give me one example where someone being obsessive leads to anything good.
Scientists, like science. That's a lot of big scientific discoveries. But I get what you mean. When it comes to personal relationships, it's never really good. Obsession.
Even in science, even in science, the obsessive nature of Curie trying to figure out radiation. What did it do to her? It destroyed her. I mean, great. We got all this great stuff based on her scientific research, but that obsession killed her. The obsession on creating a vast resource of energy with nuclear fission led to the bombs we have right now that are scaring the crap out of everybody. There is inherent danger to obsession.
Yeah, but 4.5 billion years. I mean, basically, we're meant to think that the Doctor. And maybe you guys got a different take on this. This is why I'm bringing it up. But we're basically meant to believe that the Doctor was planned this all out 4.5 billion years before, and took 4.5 billion years to play out this, what's basically like a long con. And it
he didn't plan it out. He figured it out once he got into the dial. Because he figures it out with the story of Grimm and the bird beak and all that stuff. He figures it out, and every time he has to redo it, he's remembering it. It gives him, I guess, that much more obsessive energy to continue doing it because he figures it out each time. But he didn't know ahead of time. If that's what I'm understanding that you're saying.
See, and that. I just feel like there's a lot of stuff that's kind of unclear because they get to make up the rules of this confession dial.
Yeah.
Because this is, something that's new. It's, it's this being able to do all these crazy things with this confession dial. This is brand new, and so they made up the rules, but they're so murky. And then they broke one last episode, a big one, and didn't explain it. And so the whole thing is just murky to me.
Well, I think the whole point here is, I mean, it goes back to the character of the Doctor and how much he hates being controlled by other people. And, you know, in Time Heist, where he's talking about why he doesn't like the Mastermind. And, you know, in this case, the Time Lords are the mastermind behind why he's there. And he's like, screw you guys. I'm not going to tell you about the hybrid. I'm going to spend 4.5 billion years punching a mountain of diamond rather than give you what you want. I mean, I think, yes, it's obsessive, but it's also just like stubbornness and rebelliousness.
Right. I'm with you there. And in terms of what they did with the confession doll and all that, that was mainly Razalon. That was his doing, and we all know how crazy he is. You remember Razalon?
Yeah, I was
in a different incarnation.
Timothy Dalton.
Right.
I really wanted Timothy Dalton, but oh well. I guess maybe he's filming next season of what's it called? The show we love. Oh my God, I can't remember the name.
Penny Dreadful.
Penny Dreadful. Thank you.
Oh,
yeah.
No, I think what happened is that the Timothy Dalton incarnation is, I guess, happens after these events. That's the only way I can understand it. Because remember, he was in the Void. So I think what I'm trying to say is that there's going to be some more adventures with Razalon next season, and I think we're going to see him banished to the Void, which would then tie up events to the Tenant Years.
Now I really want to go back and watch all of those again.
We just spoke about obsession, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's coming, and I think we're gonna see more about the Doctor and the whole half-human thing. Because if Razalon's gonna become Timothy Dalton, and it's gonna tie up to David 10 years, we have to remember that he has a hold of his mother, or at least we assume. Even though Moffat already admitted that was the Doctor's mother. So he has a hold of the Doctor's mother. So somehow, some way, that's going to be tied up as well.
Yeah. So I thought that was, I mean, this is tying it all up really well. I want to open up another kind of weird thing. There was, as they were going through that kind of chamber of horrors, and they had the Weeping Angels and the Cybermen and the Dalek, and they had that Dalek that was tied up or restrained or whatever, and it kept saying, exterminate me, exterminate me. The thing that popped into my head is what we learned before about the Daleks' communication. Do you think it was actually saying, like, kill me, I'm in so much pain and misery that I'd rather die? Or was it trying to say something else that was getting mistranslated?
That's an excellent question. I didn't even think of that.
Because any emotion turns into exterminate. Could it be help me? Save me?
Right. You know what? You're right.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. I figured that it was in so much pain that it just wanted you to get rid of it. But you're right. It was probably begging for some kind of mercy, but
mercy would still be extermination, wouldn't it?
Right. But that's
he's trapped at the end of time, and it doesn't look like he's having fun. So I mean, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's what Andy was trying to say, that it may have been asking for mercy, but it comes out as exterminate,
which would still solve what he's asking.
Yeah, exactly.
Totally. Right. I mean, yeah, exterminate me, save me. I mean, probably to a Dalek, that's one and the same. So.
Yeah, I would think so.
But this whole idea of having a Dalek hybrid, I mean, it goes all the way back for me to the very beginning episode where we first met. Well, not Clara, but Oswin, and that whole experience. And I wonder if that has been erased from the Doctor's memory. and the other like Impossible Girl um, instances that got Matt Smith so obsessed with who exactly she was, or if really they only got rid of Clara. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, he does say when he's at the diner that he remembers something about the Orient Express. He remembers this and that, but he can't seem to be putting Clara in those events. And he feels something's off about that. So clearly, Clara's been erased, but maybe the adventures not so much,
No,
or
yeah,
at least they're not clarified in his mind. Maybe they're just all muddled all together.
but what I'm asking is, it like, does he remember the snowman incident and what's her name? Not Clara, but the version of Clara from that.
Oh, the nanny
Yeah,
or governess
the
or
mistress.
whatever.
Yeah, the mistress, the what do we call it? The
Mm-hmm.
governess. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, right? No, I think yeah, she's gone too. I think all of it is gone.
Yeah.
All the incarnations
A
of her.
version of her. I would
Yeah.
I assume, but I mean,
And it explains why his previous incarnations don't remember seeing Clara when she goes into his time stream. They don't remember seeing her. They don't remember her at all. This explains it now because his memory was wiped. So however she interacted with the Doctor in the past, he's never going to remember it because she's gone from his memory, which is
That's
also pretty
insane.
freaking sad.
Yeah, that, especially because she was omnipresent, and
Right.
that's what was so cool and so special about her. I mean, I I feel like it's um yeah, we talked about this before. It like, yeah, it is better than Clara losing herself, but it still does feel um like erasure of, a majorly important female character, and just, oh well, I mean, and maybe, but maybe it is the positive light where they're saying like, how tragic is that he can no longer remember how important all of these things were, and how, and maybe it's not erasure, maybe it's elevating by saying like, this is um, like how something can be about murder, but saying like murder is bad. I don't know if I'm making any sense. Probably not.
I think I'm getting the gist of what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that makes this whole thing's that much more tragic. Uh, the fact that she continues to be important in his timeline, nobody's ever going to take that away. She's always going to be important in his timeline, but there's no direct benefit in terms of interacting with him. I guess like it's sad. Like it's for example, let's say I hit 60 years old, and every 3 years of my life somebody was there to save my life, but I never got to know this person at all, or I have no memory of interacting with this person. It doesn't suck so much for me because I continued to get saved, but more for that person. Like so, even though the Doctor was the one who was Donned, that's a thing, that's a word now. He was Donned.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
still sucks for Clara. It still sucks for her because
Yeah.
in the long run, she ends up becoming a nobody, which really sucks.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I guess the difference is we know. I mean, we know the same about, and the Doctor knows about Donna too. But it's just, I don't know. It just feels so tragic and so terrible. I mean, it was sad when she died, but now it's like even more so, like, beyond the pale, where it's like, oh well, she's completely gone, and like he knows that she's there, but um I mean, that whole thing that Ashildr says about, memories become stories, or no, he tells Ashildr, whoever said that line,
Right.
But that whole line about memories become stories, and
She reminds him of that line at the
yeah,
end.
yeah.
And speaking of that, I desperately want at least one season as a sideshow of a Shielder, or Me as she calls herself, and Clara going on adventures before she finishes her long way back to Gallifrey. I
Oh,
need that season.
Yes, I would. That last scene, I'm telling you, that made me want
I need that
to see
season.
them.
I want
Yes.
it.
yeah. I mean that's like that scene like just launched like 1,000 /fic Tumblr. Like, oh my gosh, I like don't even want to like start thinking about like what's happening on the internet right now.
And that scene too, like you guys were just saying about how tragic it is, I thought that was rather life affirming. We know she's a dead woman, but the fact that she gets to go off and have these adventures the long way around, who knows, in all of time and space, who knows how long that is? She could do all kinds of things and you know, just have these adventures and in a way unencumbered by the doctor and maybe not with his influence, which is what event, you know, wanting to be like him and acting like him is, you know, kind of what killed her. um
Right.
and so, you know, maybe without that influence and stuff, you know, who knows, she might even have more fun than she did with the doctor. And so I felt like, we know she's a dead woman, but if they had to bring her back, which at first I felt kind of mad about it, but I'll explain that in a second. If they're going to bring her back, this is the best way to do it. I thought it was actually quite uplifting because they've already killed her. There's nothing we can do about that. But if you're going to kill her, you know, this is as close to a happy ending that a dead person can get, you know? Um,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
I need a season with her and the Shielder running around. I just need it.
See,
I
I
need
would
for
love that, but not if they portray her finally going back to Gallifrey. You know, if we have to see that, you know, her leave again, I wouldn't want that. It would just have to be like a standalone season with, you know, maybe a few
Random adventure.
webisodes or something. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah,
yeah,
well, I mean, end it with her saying, "And now back to Gallifrey," and we don't
yeah,
have
but
to.
we don't have to see it.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
don't want to see her die
we've
yet, but
already seen it.
I do want to see her travel around, and I want to see her pick up Jane Austen and finally make out on TV because they've been
Oh my God, yes.
they've
Oh,
been
Or
alluding to
talk
that for
about
so
slash
long.
fic.
Yeah,
what
no, they need to make it happen. I need to see her make out with Jane Austen.
so what else would I mean if we're pitching a season of a Shielder and um Clara riding around in a TARDIS through time. They're going to go to Jane Austen.
Mhm.
Where else are they going to go? Give me your ideas. Let's do this.
I want her to planet hop. I want her to be away from Earth. I want her to say, "I don't want to deal with Earth's problems anymore. I want to go somewhere else. Find new villains, new creatures. Maybe that have some kind of tangent to the Doctor's timeline and his events, but not fully. Um, I want her to try to get the what was that race called again? The Trifilonians, or the coward race. I want her to go to their home planet and try to make them brave. Crap like that, you know. There's a tangent to the Doctor Who universe, but not a clear connection, and it's her just trying to solve things her own way before she's got to get back to Gallifrey.
I want to see a 1950s um, noir murder mystery
Oh,
set in New York City where they're working hand in hand with Amy and Rory.
oh, dude, yes,
Uh,
yes.
wow, you
BBC,
hit
you
the
better be
perfect
listening.
Give us this show. It will be epic. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I'd love to see something like that.
And anything else? Any other cool ideas? All right. Well, what is there anything more we can? I mean, there's tons we could talk about in this episode, but
You know
any
what? I think that what this episode did is it reestablished order in the universe. Gallifrey's back We know Sarkos has been back for a while. I think the Doctor is going to spend more time dealing with those issues now. We're going to start. I think we're going to start going back to some of the setup of Classic Who. I'd love to see more of the inner workings of Gallifrey. I'd love to see that. Um, there was a time during the Tom Baker years where the Doctor had to stand trial. It was kind of boring. We could redo that, but make it more epic. Just get a real feel, a real tangible feel for Gallifrey and the people of Gallifrey. We've already experienced that there is a class division. They've talked up the Time Lords so much, but you know what? They weren't any different than us. They were bastards.
Yeah.
You know, the aristocrats and the highborn were living it up, and there was poor people living in the desert. What does that sound like? I think we live in that country.
Yep.
So give us a little bit more of that, and I think we might get more of that. I think that's what Moffat is setting it up, and if it goes that route, man, what a masterful stroke from Moffat, bringing back old Who into new Who, making it all united once and for all, and then he can just walk away and have somebody else take over. That would
I'd
be
like
so
to see at least an entire episode on Gallifrey. I kind of thought that's what
I'm
we
with
were
you.
going to get with this, and we didn't. Gallifrey was only a part of it. You know, it wasn't really the focus at all. The focus was on Clara and the Doctor and this MacGuffin hybrid that, you know, we're just going to have to agree to disagree on that one. Yeah, I would like to see a lot more about the inner workings there, and not just the damn barn. Or, you know, there's more than just the barn, people. Yeah, that would be pretty awesome. As long as we don't have to see Clara in it, that's all. But they did leave, you know, the door open for Clara to come back, and you know, she could. We don't know how long she's going to take the long way around, and her and a Shielder could be back. I wouldn't mind seeing a Shielder maybe once a season or something. You know, I think she's just really clever and intelligent, and I just love her character. I love the way Maisie Williams can take those hundreds of years of experience that her character has and put it on a face so young. You know, you don't expect to see that kind of world weariness on someone so young. She was just awesome.
Yeah.
Huh?
It's billions of years.
Yeah.
She's there at the end of all of time. I love Maisie Williams, and I really like what she did with her character, but I hate a Shielder. I just can't stand her anymore.
I
I'd love
kind of
to-
loved her in this episode.
Okay, I'm with you there,
Yeah.
and I really do want to see at least one season with her and Clara doing all sorts of epic stuff, but I kind of hope her chapter's closed in the Doctor Who universe. I really do hope it's done, because I don't think we need to, revisit that or keep drawing from that well. I'd be okay if it's over.
Yeah. We'll see. I mean, I think there's going to need to be a reason to bring her back, and the one thing that I worried about was, like, after this season, Maisie Williams is going to continue to grow up, and she's still going to, like, change and age quite a bit over the next, like, 5 years. And the way that they got to where she was at the end of this episode, I'm like, I think she will probably still be looking like that when she's 25. So they can maybe still bring her back every once in a while, like and have it within the realm of, like, suspension of disbelief.
Right. Well,
and really, as she gets older, the technology CGI will get better. They could possibly still use her, you know, even as she gets older. It just depends. But what this means, BBC, because I know the executives of the BBC are huge fans of the podcast and listen
Yes.
every week. That just means our little spin-off idea has to happen sooner rather than later. Hint,
It
hint.
has to happen now. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm with you because because they've already established that she is the way she is right now at the end of all space and time. So she can't sound any older and she can't look any older. It's done. Like, she is a fixed point in time now for reals. and we can't mess around with it because then it ruins this episode. So that's why I think that her character is done, unless we get something for next year. But I think as she grows up a little bit more, it's just going to be extremely implausible because then you'll destroy this episode.
Yeah, I think it'll be hard to bring her back. There might be a reason to, but I don't know. We'll see. But I'm blown away thinking back over this entire season and how good it is. And like everywhere I went this week, talking with some of my friends who are huge, huge nerds, and I'm like, "Are you watching Doctor Who this season?" Everyone's like, "Yeah, no, I just kind of stopped last season. Didn't really get
What?
back into it. Oh, I've got all of them on my DVR, and I'm gonna get to it." And I'm like, "You guys, what are you doing? This is so good. It's so excellent." And I feel very privileged that we got to experience this. It was really truly awesome, and I wish more people knew. So
Yeah, I hate that people are still not giving Capaldi a chance when he has proven himself this season over and over and over again. This season could not have been handled by any other actor. I don't think he was perfect for what happened this season. And God, what he did, I fell in love with him, man. And I've seen like a lot of the forums that I belong to. I've read a lot of people saying, okay, he's become my favorite Doctor now. And these are the same people who were real iffy on him to begin with, and now people are talking about him being the favorite Doctor. That's how well he's played the role this season, and I expect more from him next season. I think next season is going to be even better.
Did you
Um,
guys think during this episode, just like for a split second, that they were going to regenerate him? Like, there
yes,
was a point where I was like,
yep,
no, like, you just made it awesome, and now you're going to take it, like, just, I don't even remember exactly what part it was, but the thought creeped into my head that they might regenerate him and just surprise the hell out of all of us. And I was like, the thought of that made me want to kind of cry a little. It's
yeah.
just, you know,
The very last minutes when he just falls in the new TARDIS.
yes, okay, you're
Right.
right,
And
yes.
I was thinking, oh crap, she reversed the polarity. That usually means bad things. That usually means death. And he touched it, and now we're gonna lose it. And I was like, oh no, please don't do this, don't do this. And then it turned out to be something else completely. But yeah, I'm glad they didn't regenerate him.
Yeah, I
yeah,
would say at least one more season with him would be
Yes.
great. And he hasn't surpassed Matt Smith as my doctor yet, but maybe he could. And this is the first time I feel that could happen. But he's definitely number two. Whereas at the beginning of this season, in terms of New Who, he was definitely number four because I didn't like last season by and large. But
yeah.
he's rocked up to number two, really close,
Yeah.
almost a tie maybe, but not quite. Matt
Uh,
Smith still has my heart, and he probably always will. But yeah, he's right there. I mean, he was incredible this season. He really, really was.
it's 1A and 1B for me. They're Jesus, and I can't believe I'm
It's
saying that.
hard, right? I mean,
I,
he's really close. It's
yeah.
neck and neck.
I can't
But
believe I'm saying that, but he just
no.
emotes so beautifully. I mean, geez, I felt the hurt like all this season, the anger and the fear that he displayed. Capaldi is such a great, great, great actor, and like we're super spoiled to have him as a doctor.
Yeah. And now the question becomes, what are we gonna do with this podcast? We'll have we'll
Christmas special
yeah, we'll
still.
have the Christmas special still, but so this is what I'm going to propose.
Uh,
Next week we are going to come back and we're going to talk about we're starting to learn a little bit about what might happen next season. Moffat's throwing out things like, "Oh, I'm thinking about maybe a male companion." Let's
Mhm.
like find everything we can about what might be in the next season, and then we're going to couple that This is just going to be the speculation episode. So we're going to do
Okay.
speculation on that, and then really, this is an excuse to do speculation about Star Wars. And we're just going to talk about Star Wars.
Yes. Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Because we have to.
And I
So,
also thought it would be nice to do like we could do like, maybe because this is the season for it, December, like year end type lists.
yep.
We could do like our favorite things from the whole year, like all of pop culture, or then also maybe our favorite episodes of this season or scenes. Even, there's so many possibilities we could do with that, but we could use that to fill in the time until the Christmas special. After that, though, I don't know.
No. We'll have to
After the
figure out.
Christmas special, maybe we go on hiatus. I don't really know, unless you wanted to start doing like Classic Who or. But I don't think all those episodes are on. Are they all on Netflix?
No.
I don't think so, right?
A lot of them are, but not all of them.
Yeah. So
So,
it would be kind of like gaping holes here and there.
The BBC doesn't even have the entirety of the catalog. They're
That is,
missing.
I know, that is so sad that they just didn't take care of it.
so yeah, I think in the new year we will go from being a weekly to a monthly, or maybe a every like 5-6 weekly, and we'll kind of curate some episodes of like, well, I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna watch the last season of Torchwood, and then we'll talk about that, or then we're gonna do like the top five Tom Baker episodes, and like I'll watch.
And also maybe we could talk about like Doctor Who actors and writers or whatever,
what they're
like
doing now.
what they're doing now. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like we could talk about Legends of Tomorrow, because that has Rory in it, or not
That's a
Rory,
great
but
idea.
Arthur Darvill.
Yep.
I love
Which
that idea. man.
I fully intend to watch it. In fact, I've been watching Arrow, even though I said I wasn't going to, simply because they're introducing all the Legend of Tomorrow characters, and I kind of want to see that. But it's
You know,
making me mad.
you know what,
Yeah.
man? I
It-
just
I'm
want
only watching it because of the introduction of the Legend of Tomorrow characters, or else it would be
Yeah.
on the shelf. It would
Me
be
too.
on the shelf still, because it's still frustrating as hell.
just when I thought Arrow couldn't possibly get worse. Oh my freaking God! Like, oh God! Like, I'm not. I can't even watch 5 minutes without like having an aneurysm and just pointing out to the TV. That was stupid. That was stupid. This doesn't make sense. We're still doing flashbacks. Like,
I know. Why are we doing
Yes.
flashback? They were so boring last season, and they're even more boring this season.
yes,
Seriously.
and they're pointless.
Yeah.
So pointless. And it's
I feel
oh
like
my
they're just filler at this point. The first couple seasons, there was a reason for them. They told us why he is the way he is today. They told us his story. I was on board with the first couple seasons, but now I feel it's just to get to 42 minutes. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
For me
There's
it's
only so many dark corners they can film in for 42 minutes. You gotta lighten things up a little.
Although I did like the Constantine one with the flashback that involved him. That was
good.
fun.
I did enjoy that. Yes.
okay. I thought it was okay.
But yes, overall, oh yeah, Arrow, he's just the worst. He's the worst superhero ever. He's just like so totally incompetent, and like the idea that everyone doesn't know exactly who he is, and like, oh, and that stupid helmet that Diggle wears is just, this whole thing is just the worst. It's all
Judge Dredd helmet is so it's no. There's just so much no to this season, and
Yeah.
I you know what? This is what happened to me. Netflix got Flash, the Flash, like 3 days before the new season started, and I tried watching as much as I could, and my DVR didn't set up to record the first few episodes, and I thought it did, and then I tried watching the first 3 episodes of the new season, but the CW only holds 3 episodes at a time, so I lost those first 3 episodes, and I can't get my hands on them, so. The Flash is gone for me, so I had no other choice. Watch frickin' Arrow, because my DVR somehow remembered to record that one, and I hate it. I hate it. I just absolutely hate it. It's a freaking soap opera, and it needs to be stopped. And the only reason I continued watching it, and trust me, when it's on, I'm doing something else. The only reason is because I wanted to see how we got the Atom from there, and I finally saw that episode, and it was okay. But I want to see how they hook up with the Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
it.
That's
Uh,
the only reason I'm watching. Yep.
yeah. After this season, I'm done. I'm done. It's over. I'm gonna make sure my DVRs destroy all semblances of Arrow. I'm gonna burn it. I don't want to see it anymore. And I'm gonna give Legends of Tomorrow a shot. I may or may not like it, but I'm at least gonna give it a shot.
Yeah.
And I'm almost done with the first season of The Flash, and I'm like, damn it, how did I miss out on this?
Dude.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
telling you.
I just jump back into the Flash and start right now because I think you can then still catch from a couple of weeks ago. There was a Return of Gorilla Grodd episode. Fantastic.
God, is that good?
Go.
Really was good.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey, other than Iris, because I think they're just really crappy with the writing for Iris. But other than her, that show is really just damn entertaining. I can't believe it would have been great if you'd watched it last season as it was airing because it's a nice antidote to Arrow.
yep.
Because it would have made you dislike Arrow a little less or at least Sting a little less, what that show's become. Yeah. And this season, with the exception of like one episode, I gotta say it's still firing on all cylinders. It's a lot of fun.
Yep, and they really get it, and I think that their model for Legends of Tomorrow is really coming from the Flash, with it being an ensemble and being kind of silly with how they're introducing all of these things, and they get it that they're going to have Captain Cold and Hawkman and Hawkgirl and the Atom all on a team doing time travel to try and chase down Vandal Savage. Like, it's just so ridiculous, and the trailers and everything just look great. I'm really excited about that. So yeah, maybe that's what we'll do. We'll just like every week we'll tune in and we'll talk about Legends of Tomorrow.
All right.
Sounds good to me.
Oh, I'm all for that. Yeah.
And maybe we could just mention a little bit of Agent Carter because that's coming back really soon in like a month.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I'm really excited.
And if people have not been watching Marvel Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., holy crap, have they been missing out.
Yeah.
It's been a great season so far. Great season. So maybe we can talk a little bit about that. And also what I've been dying to talk about is how dark Marvel's been getting, at least TV show-wise, with Netflix. That criticism that people laid on DC for so long about they make serious movies and they're so dark and they kill people. Well, yeah, Marvel's starting to get a little dirty now. And I'm not saying I don't like that. I like it. But I'd like to somehow bring that to the table and have a discussion about that.
Yeah, this next year is going to be amazing. So yeah, what we will have to do before the end of the year, like Melissa said, we'll do a year in review and a top 10 sort of thing, and also a like what we're most looking forward to in the new year.
Oh man, so much. That has to be like a top 20 or something.
It's going to be great. But thank you so much, both of you, for sticking in with me. Even doing this very late tonight. So thanks, Melissa, and thanks, Mark. Thanks, everyone, for listening, and thanks to the folks at Big Shiny Robot who make all the stuff behind the scenes work and host the podcast. And until then, we will see you all next time.
Next time. Bye-bye, BBC.
Bye.
Listen to us.
And that's over.